What's up, folks? I'm Kyle, and behind you filming is Mo. Today we're going to walk you step by step on how you can do your own European skull mount for an alligator at your house. It's fairly inexpensive, you don't need a lot of supplies, and we're going to walk you through the entire process, how to get all the grease out of them, get them super clean and super white.
All right, guys, so part of the process that we like implementing as well is using a little bit of Dawn dish soap or borax. What that does as you're boiling it, it really helps get the meat off and also helps degrease the bones as well. So your end result ends up coming out a little whiter than what normally would be. It also makes the cleaning process a little easier too. Now, this is our first boil that we do before the pressure washing. There's going to be another boil with peroxide that we'll show you later, which is after the pressure washing. I'm going to put some soap in there now. Get it all in there and let it sit. I'm going to take the alligator out. Got to fish for it a little bit in here. There you go, here's a big fella. So the reason why I'm doing this mid-boil is, as you can see, this extra meat over here. This gator was frozen solid when it came to us. And the reason why we want to take it out, I'm going to cut this meat off over here and put it back in the boiler. The reason why I'm doing this is because it makes it so much easier to pressure wash, and also if you put the gator in there with all the meat on there, you have to boil it extra, and what that does is puts the bones at risk. So in order to get this to pressure wash without cutting it off, you have to boil it longer, which puts the bone at risk. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is cut it off. Now before I cut it off, I need to cool it down a little bit because it's scalding hot, as you saw. So I'm just going to hit it with the pressure washer. Let's get this knife out of the way. Let's see if that did the trick. It's still going to be pretty hot, that's why gloves come in handy as well. So I'm going to grab the meat and just cut it along the jaw, as you can see. This is pretty much thawed, so it should come off pretty easy. But again, like I said, it's hot, so just pay attention to that. I'm going to hit it one more time. It's still pretty hot. So much better. And as I'm cutting in there, it's crazy. It's been in there for about 40 minutes or so. The back part of the tongue, right in here, it's still kind of cool, which is surprising considering how long it was in there for. But that goes to show that, you know, this thing is so meaty that it was frozen all the way through. So yeah, now if you have the ability to, if it's not too hot, I would also cut off all this extra meat over here. Again, any meat you cut off essentially just helps you with the pressure washing process, and you don't have to pressure wash all this meat off. It just makes the whole process that much faster. So yeah, I'm gonna take care of this real quick as well. And even if you can't get all the meat out, if it's still too hot for you, just cutting and loosening up the meat, what that does is it helps when you put the gator back into the water, it just helps the water get through places where it normally wouldn't have because the meat was too strong. So now just loosening it up, making cuts, it just allows access for the water to get through. That much easier, and you have to boil it for less time then. Yeah, the inside of this is still cold. You see this meat right here? That's barely uncooked because that was deep in there and it was frozen solid. So it's crazy. The outside's hot, the inside's cold. And that's just part of it. Yep, the inside's still frozen. That's crazy. I think that's good enough for now. Get as much excess meat I can off of here. All right, I'm gonna put it back in the water, let it keep boiling. Now, I've already boiled this for about 45 minutes or so. I'm not gonna boil it for 45 minutes again. I'll give it about maybe 20 minutes tops. Just keep an eye on it. It depends, you know, how much is still frozen, how much meat you're able to get off of it. But after this point, I'll just keep eye on it regularly to make sure you don't overboil anything. The whole pressure washing day is obviously the pressure washer. Now it's a very obvious, very stupid rule of thumb, but you know we made the mistake ourselves, is to attach the water before turning the power on. The amount of pressure washers we've blown up doing the same mistake is insane. So we want to save you that cost of a new pressure washer. Just put that in your head. Water goes first and then power. So as you can see, I've attached my water. Now I'm gonna plug it in over here. Sweet, we got power. Now let's test the sucker out. Make sure it works. Before I do that, I actually want to bring up another good point over here. Your pressure washer comes with multiple nozzles, but these two are the most important ones. This red one means high pressure, maximum pressure. This yellow one is moderate pressure. So when to use these? This one for literally anything you want to use it for. This is going to help you blast away all that meat. Now this one, especially if you're doing gators, I recommend using it for teeth and jaw areas, or if you've overboiled your heads a little bit and the bone's a little sensitive, I recommend using the yellow one. But if you're not worried about the bones being overboiled, you're not working on teeth, let her rip with the red one. Now let's make sure it works.
All right, guys, so we got the alligator cleaned, got all the meat off of it. Make sure you get in every single little nook and cranny that you can. And now we're gonna walk you through how we get these super, super white. This is a cleaning solution we use. It's a super strong, like peroxide that you can order online. We use this brand right here. We also use another popular brand called GLB Aqua Silk. You can find them on most pool store websites. but this is what we use to whiten them. Now, one thing I want to talk about the gators is a lot of people don't do this, but it's super, super important. After we whiten these and they're still hot, we're actually gonna, well, it's frozen solid right now, but we're actually gonna pull them out. This is after we whiten them, and we're gonna pull out every single tooth and we're gonna clean all the junk out. There's a ton of meat and grease in these teeth. And what a lot of people do is they'll just whiten them, let them dry, then put, you know, some type of mop glow or something like that on there. We don't do any of that. We actually remove the teeth, pull all of the meat out, get all of the grease out. It's gonna give you a way better product long term, and it's just gonna be whiter, and it's overall better for your mouth. So we're gonna walk you through that. We do a ton of gator heads, so we'll typically, throughout the weekend, we'll typically use a whole one of these. If you're at home and you're just doing 1 or 2 gators, I'd say probably use about half a container, but make sure you get to the water, or get the water to a boil before you put this in. And for your gator, I would say do anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes, especially if it's a larger alligator. But just keep an eye on it. You know, when you pull it out, if it's super brittle, you know, go ahead and take it out. Don't leave it in there or anything like that. But a good rule of thumb is anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes. Gator's been in here for about 14 minutes here in the cleaning solution. We're gonna take it out. What's pretty cool about the cleaning solution too is if there's any small leftover pieces of meat on it, which there shouldn't be, try to get as much off as you can in the initial boil. It will actually turn a little bit left into like this white gelatin and stuff that just comes right off with the pressure washer. So you don't want to have a lot of meat left on it, but just saying if there is a little bit, it'll come right off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this out. I'm gonna give it a really good rinse down with the pressure washer. And then I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna take it inside and I'm gonna remove all the teeth and start cleaning that out. The reason why I do it after the boil is the bone is still hot, so it makes removing the teeth a hell of a lot easier. We're gonna remove all of these teeth. As you see, some of them have already coming out. Those were kind of fell out of the pot while we were boiling. We can match those up. Also keep in mind, this jaw is gonna be pretty sensitive and it can break in half. That's totally fine. If it does, it's like a puzzle piece, you just put it right back together. We'll show you some glue that we use as well. But here's how we remove the teeth. Sometimes it's hot enough you can just do it with your fingers. What I like to do is just set them up side by side. They all have their own kind of angled place where they can fit. So what I like to keep is channel locks and some with like a tooth cleaning pick. Put those there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove all of these teeth. Some of these bigger ones are kind of a pain to remove sometimes. That's why we always recommend doing this while the gator's fresh out of the cleaning pot. Makes it way easier. And like I said, there's a few teeth missing. We have them in that pile over there. We'll match them up. But if you don't do this when the gator's hot, you're gonna have to pull out almost every single tooth with these channel locks, and it just takes way more time. See how they're coming out super easy now? You need to use the channel locks on a couple of them. And what I'll actually do is after I move all of these teeth and line them up like this, I'll do it with the bottom jaw as well. I'll clean the big gunk out of each one of the teeth. Show you an example. Tooth like this. I'll just come over here, get this pick, kind of scoop the junk out of here. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to get the big stuff up. You see how much stuff's coming out of just one tooth? So a lot of these people, when they don't remove the teeth, just look at all that. They're leaving all of that in the teeth. Over time, that's obviously gonna get pretty gross and, you know, not be fun. But so you're gonna wanna do that with every tooth. And then if you zoom into here, I'll turn these things kind of sideways. And these are like casings of, they're, I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, but essentially like their other tooth. All this junk in here. You just wanna get rid of all of this stuff. So once you do that for all of these, and you do that for the lower jaw as well, we're gonna let this gator dry for 24 hours. Once we let it dry for 24 hours, we'll show you the glue that we use and how we put them back in.